Hey guys, Joe from Joe and Mike's podcast back here talking some NHL. It has been a while. I never have anyone to talk about hockey with. I would be on here every friggin' week talking about how hockey's going if, I have someone to talk to about it, but I don't. Brent, if you're watching this, which I know you are, one day when you know more, I'll get you on here. But for now, it's me. What we're going to discuss today is the trade deadline, which teams won, which teams lost. So we're going to rank the teams, not off of how they are now, um, like who's the best team in the league. We're not ranking it off of that. We're ranking it off of how they did at the deadline. And let me just do something real quick. Hold on. Where are they? Yeah. So the Islanders didn't do shit, so they're not going on the list. Let's give them the white color. There you go. Non-applicable. They got Robert Bertuzzo for a seventh round pick like in December, but they didn't do crap at the deadline. So and it's Bertuzzo. Might as well done nothing, you know. Yeah, there's the Islanders for you. But yeah, other than that, let's get started. Let's talk about the Anaheim Ducks and the Ducks. Man, they had a really good start to the year. I'm a Ducks guy. First team will always be the Boston Bruins. Second team will always be the Anaheim Ducks. Big space between the Bruins and the Ducks, by the way, but also a big space between the Ducks and the next team. So I do like the Ducks. We're talking Labushkin's gone. I thought they got rid of what's his name, Minnikov, the new young guy there, and I was so pissed. And then I was like, oh wait, Labushkin. Okay, not that big a deal. Drysdale is a big deal. Ah, they shouldn't have traded Drysdale. I understand Cutter Gauthier. We don't know how that trade is going to age because he didn't play for them yet. That worked out for Philly because Gauthier wasn't even going to play for Philly. Adam Henrique, his time was coming. Sam Carrick, not really too big of a factor, but they did get Cutter Gauthier. They did get one guy. I forget what his name is, but he's ineffective, so I'm not even gonna mention him. They kept Vetrano, which I thought they should do. I didn't think they were going to. I don't really think they made much of a difference. So C is gonna be like like didn't make much of a difference. If I could, I'd do this, but this is more funny. um, but yeah, the Coyotes. I'm talking about two teams that aren't even gonna sniff the playoffs right off the bat. I mean, they just lost things. They just rounded up more picks. They're staying neutral, and the Coyotes have been neutral for so friggin' long. They lost Dumba. Stetcher, I don't really think that's much of a loss. Dumba's also kind of mid, but Zucker is kind of a miserable loss for these guys. I mean he's older, but I close to putting him here, but I think I'm gonna put them here because the thing is they got nothing. They've been doing this for so long. Carconi is a great player. I think that's the only thing they have. At least the Ducks have Leo Carlson, they have McTavish, Zegras stayed. I think Zegras is a great player. Um, Troy Terry, obviously. They have some pieces here. The Coyotes have been getting picks for so long, like the pick graveyard, and they just haven't done dick with them. So yeah. The Bruins, my boys, my boys. Don Sweeney was sleeping at this deadline after a few resounding trade deadlines, getting Hampus Lindholm one year, Taylor Hall the year before, last year getting Orlov and Bertuzzi. We got Maroon and Andrew Peak. Maroon, great addition. We need some physicality. Love it. Andrew Peak, why? We don't need another depth defenseman. We have plenty of depth defensemen. If we wanted to go out and get another defenseman, like a star defenseman, then I get that. But we do not need another depth defenseman like Andrew Peak. I understand the Linus Olmark trade was going to go through. Pierre-Luc Dubois is one of the most overrated players in the entire National Hockey League. I'm glad it didn't. So I understand there were moves that were supposed to be made, but it would have made me put them lower. So, um, high C or B. I think adding the physicality of Pat Maroon and the experience. Yep, okay. I'll put them at B, which kind of surprises me because I wish they had done more. But getting Pat Maroon was a good move, so I'm gonna keep him there. All right. The Buffalo Sabres. Wow. That's all I can say, man. I didn't expect any of the guys that left the Sabres to leave the Sabres. Casey Middlestat, so I'm glad he has a chance to make a run. I wish it wasn't with Colorado, but yeah, Okposo, crazy. Eric Johnson leaving is rough. That was a bad deadline for the Sabres. They lost a lot of good pieces, and this was a team that I was thinking might get a wild card spot this year. That was bad, and they lost a lot. Middlestat alone leaving. They did get Bo Byram for him, so if they only got a pick for him, they'd be F. But I'm gonna put them in D. Right, actually, right there. Yeah, Bo Byram is a great addition for the team, but they lost so much, man. And I just, what the hell are the Flames doing? I just feel bad for them. Calgary, they're trading the barn. I mean, I don't. They traded everyone. I don't really know. It's another one of those neutral things where they got rid of everybody. And the thing is, like in a playoff spot, I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, you know what? They're going down here because they were one outside of a playoff spot, and they traded more than anybody. I don't know why they would do that. Now the return for the things they traded was pretty decent. They got Kuzmenko, which is awesome, but like I don't think they needed to do that. I think they were fighting for a playoff spot more than the Wild or the Blues, and they traded everybody. So I don't know. They could really use a guy like Elias Lindholm right now. I mean, enough said. I mean, I don't even really got to say anything about this one. They gave a Bunting who I felt really never fit in with Carolina. They have the same team that made it to the conference finals last year, plus Gensel and Kuznetsov, who have both won Stanley Cups and been a big part of said Stanley Cup winning team. If there was a double S tier, that's where Carolina's going. I mean, shit. They have, like I said, Bunting was not there last year, and look what they did without him. Gensel and Kuznetsov were not there last year. Let's see what they do with them. This is a crazy team, and also I felt like the depth scoring for Carolina last year was an issue. They have one of the best depth scoring squads in the league this year, so very very good job. Um, Chicago. I don't even remember half of what these friggin' guys did. They got Bavillier, then they traded Bavillier. I don't think they really got anybody. Yeah, no, and what they're doing is they're just going for Celebrini. They Celebrini to Bedard. I hope that doesn't happen, but I mean, I guess their lack of moves. I guess I'll put them above the Bruins just because I understand what they're trying to do, and they're doing a good job at it. Um, Avs. Now this is where it becomes like um the Avs got more assets. However, Gensel is the best asset. Total. Okay, they're going. Ooh, actually, no, I don't know. Okay, they are going here. So the deciding factor, um, I think the picks or the what they got pretty much cancels out. They got Trennan from Nashville. I don't know why Nashville gave up Trennan. That pisses me off because Nashville, I mean, shit, they're 9-0-2 in their last bunch of games. They could make a run. We saw Florida do it. Nashville could make a run. Why would they trade Trennan? I don't know. Um, Middlestat obviously is huge. They did have to give up Bo Byron, but I think that they're fine giving that up because they have Cale Makar. They're resting all of it on Cale Makar now, obviously, because that Duhaime helps the physicality. Sean Walker, I still don't think Philly should have given him up, but I wouldn't say a Bo Byron replacement, but I'd say like a tier down, a step down. What makes the difference is Nikushkin's back and Freddie's back. And I think Nikushkin makes a little more of a difference than Freddie. He already got an overtime goal. Nikushkin is awesome. I'm really glad he's back for the Avs. I don't know why it isn't more stated that he's back, but yeah. Also, props to Freddie Anderson. Very happy he's back. Hope he does well. Um, Blue Jackets. They got Malcolm Subban. No, no, but I was gonna say they got rid of Peak. They gave it to us, the Bruins. Jack Roslovic. I'm not sure what they gave up in that, but Roslovic alone, I want to put him here because I don't think they should have given up Roslovic, but I'll put him there. Not too much of a difference for the Blue Jackets. Stars. I mean they got Chris Tanev, which is nice, but I just don't think that they built enough compared to the teams around them. The West got stacked, and the Dallas Stars did nothing to stack themselves. Now, do I think they're as good a team as Colorado? Yes, I do. I think that this would be a great 7 game series. However, we're talking about how did they do at the trade deadline? Honestly, they should go down here. But they did get Tanev, which bumps them up there. They did nothing, and I think they should have improved their roster a little more to keep up with Vegas and the Avalanche. Um, Wings, they signed Patrick Kane, and that's it. They're on a spiral right now. They should have done more. I don't think they did anything at the trade deadline. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll update the description if I miss anything. But like, shit. I mean, they didn't give up anything. I think they might have given up something like small, but if I recall, but like they needed to do more, especially if they're fighting for a playoff spot. They're out of one now. They've been in a playoff spot since like the beginning. Now they're out of it. They need something, and they just lost their chance unless they want to take a shot in free agency, which I don't. I don't know if you can even do that after the trade deadline, but the Wings are hooked. Um, Hopefully I'm wrong. Oilers. They got Henrique, Stetcher, and Carrick. They've been pretty bad since then, but that is a decent haul, better than the Bruins haul. I'll put them right there. I don't think it's anything to scream home about, but I think it's decent. I think Adam Henrique is a great pickup. Carrick and Stetcher are like kind of whatever. They do need depth on defense though. So I guess they did answer what they needed other than the goaltending. I guess they will rely on Stuart Skinner. They have faith in Stuart Skinner clearly. Um, I think they could use a new goalie, but they got defense. So sure. And then they got a impactful offensive player in Henrique. So good job. All right. Right there for Florida. They definitely got the cheapest grab. They had to give up I'm sorry, the Canes had to give up Ponomarov and Bunting. Which like I said, Bunting was a good let go. Ponomarov, we'll see. He is a great prospect for them, or was. But they gave up friggin' nothing for Tarasenko. Ottawa butchered that shit. I cannot believe that happened. They got Okposo. No one is talking about this. The only issue is Ekblad is injured for a couple weeks. So will the Bruins retake the Atlantic? I hope so, but he will be back in time for the playoffs. Tarasenko and Okposo are the big pickups here. I think they might have got somebody else, but yeah, obviously, I think Tarasenko already might have had a pair. I know he had one goal at least. He might have had a pair, but yeah, Florida, I wouldn't say better than these guys, but the Tarasenko trade definitely had the most value out of any trade at the deadline, I think. Um, the Kings got fucked. The Kings spent, I guarantee, all of their time and effort on trading PDL, PLD for Omar, and then Omar just pulled the rug out. So they got screwed. It's not their fault that they didn't go up. I would bring them up if they had gotten Omar, but yeah, it's not the Kings' fault. I feel kind of bad, but at the same time, I don't want PLD, so it's fine. All right, the Wild, they traded they traded a bunch of people, and I don't think that was a good idea. They traded Duhaime, got rid of some grit. They traded Maroon. I don't like that. They're kind of giving up, throwing in the towel a little early. They didn't give up as much as Calgary, but they didn't have as good a shot at the postseason as Calgary. I'll put them right there. I don't think they should have been sellers like that. Obviously, they didn't give up the big guns, but I would have just islanded it. I would have just stayed kaput, and they didn't. So, yep, that's where they go. Canadians traded Monahan. Monahan's my guy. They needed to get rid of him though. He wanted to go to a place where he could win, and he pumped up his trade value this year. So good on Monahan. And the Jake Allen trade finally got out of there to New Jersey. We'll talk about that later. But not much to say about them. I'll put them right there. There's really not too much to say. They didn't lose as much as Anaheim, so I won't put them below Anaheim. But yeah, that's a good spot for the Canadians. All right, the Preds. So I don't like them giving up Trennan, man. I really don't like it. But they did get Zucker. I don't think Zucker is as good as Trennan, so I don't know why they did that. He does have more playoff experience. Um I still just think though that they found their so this is not I'm not putting them in A because of their trade. I just think I'm putting them in A because they mostly did what they found necessary. They found their stride lately. Why would they trade someone when they found their stride? Um, yeah, I'm putting them there because they knew exactly what they needed to do and did it. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, so they can't go up here, but they definitely filled the holes that needed to be filled. They got Zucker. I don't agree with Trennan. Another reason they're not an S, but yeah, perfect there. Jesus H. Christ, what the hell happened? I don't even know what to say. The Toffoli trade was disgusting. It was horrible. They think the solution to their goaltending problem is Jake Allen. I was listening to this show, a talk show, and they were listing like the list of goalies that Lindy Ruff had to work with when he was in New Jersey. And God have mercy on Lindy Ruff. And they think the solution to all that is Jake Allen. They're out of their goddamn minds, dude. Like, he is not an upgrade on Vanacek. Like, if he is, it's a minor one. It is just nothing. And then they got nothing for Tyler Toffoli. If they're trying to make a playoff, they're clearly not trying to make a playoff push. I don't know. They were still in a position to make a playoff push. They still are, kind of. But now that they got rid of Toffoli, I don't know. I think it's horrible for them. We're dipping the Islanders because we already did that. The Rangers. Am I the only one who thinks that they were underwhelming? I don't think they did bad. I think it was underwhelming. They got Ruedel and they got Wenberg, and that's it basically. Oh, they did get Roslovic. They did get Roslovic. Okay, okay. But yeah, no, I just think it's one of those things where everyone around them, the Canes and the Panthers, were getting stronger. Same thing as Dallas, and they got a little bit of depth. And that's it. Roslovic will be a nice addition, but other than that, I think the Rangers could have done more. I thought they could have done more. Maybe they would have done more if Kako had moved. If Kako had moved for Gensel, we'd be talking maybe A tier because Kako is a big piece. They'd be giving up, but Gensel is a big addition piece. But yeah, New Jersey was the worst. But this is solely because of the Tarasenko trade. I'm pretty sure, other than that and the rumblings about a Tuck trade, that's really all that the Senators did. I could be wrong. I could be missing something obvious. Let me know. But yeah, just bad trade. We don't need to discuss it any further. Horrible trade. All right, Philly. Drysdale for Gauthier. Love that. Good move. Good addition there. I'd never expected Drysdale to move this early with the Ducks. They made it happen. Um, I do not like the Sean Walker trade. I do not like getting rid of Sean Walker. I am so happy they kept Scott Lawton. I think it would have been ridiculous if had he left. They just got good with this core and they break it up. Why would they do that? Um, they replaced Sean Walker with Eric Johnson. Great replacement. I still would have kept both of them, but they get right. They get above the Predators. I think they had a decent trade deadline. I think they had a really good trade deadline. Eric Johnson has won a Stanley Cup. Drysdale is a great young defenseman. He has not been playing. He will be back for the playoffs. Should they make it? It's looking a little iffy right now, but they definitely I don't want to say all in like these guys went, but they're definitely trying to make things happen. Penguins, Penguins, Penguins. What happened? Now, I look, fine. What they got for Gensel, I don't think it was a bad trade. People are saying it was a bad trade. They got what, a conditional first round pick, right? If they make it to the finals, I think the Canes. They got Bunting, who's decent under Dubas, loves him. Panamarov, like I said, fantastic prospect. We'll see where he goes in life. I definitely think he'll be a full-time NHLer in the next couple of years. I think he got 2 points in his debut with Carolina. Um, and then they also got rid of Ruedel, some of their depth. They just look like they're in disaster mode right now. They could have made a couple trades to try to make a playoff push. It looks like they're not going to try to do so. Um, yeah, no, just bad trade deadline for them. Um, the Sharks, they did what they were supposed to do, right? Like, I don't think the Rangers did what they were supposed to do. That's why they're in the mid. I think the Blue Jackets didn't really. I think the LA couldn't put the Sharks there. They did what they were supposed to do, right? Getting rid of Hurdle is tough. The Couture injury is awful, but like, what were they supposed to do? You know, It's not even entertaining to discuss the Sharks at this point. Nothing really to. In Seattle, what the hell did they do? They traded Wenberg, and then we're out of there. They didn't do shit other than that. Very unentertaining from Seattle. Another team that should be making a attempt to make a playoff push right now. Nashville is definitely making it hard for them to do so. But I mean, they could have. They could have had they grabbed somebody. The way the team was last year, they just needed one extra spark. Had they got like someone like Gensel, I think that I would expect them to at least propel themselves to at the end of the season one slot outside wild card, if not in wild card. So I don't think they did what they were supposed to. The Blues really didn't do much. Not much to say. I'll put them in there. They didn't do anything really at all. I'm friggin' Tampa. Tampa, Duclair and Dumba are the only additions to Tampa. Um, I don't think that's enough to push them over the edge. I think they should have done more. I'll put them right there. They should have done more. She's getting stacked with these teams here, and I think I'm gonna add another team there. Actually, no. I'll add the Leafs right there, mm, above Boston. Yeah, but damn, Boston did not have that good. I didn't realize how good I was gonna rank Boston in comparison to some of these. Um, they stocked up a defense. I don't think they got anyone on offense, the Leafs, but yeah, no, they got some decent depth defenders. They didn't really need much, I don't think. They have been letting in a lot of goals, so obviously they don't need any superstar scoring help, nor can they afford it. But they did what they could with the cards they were dealt in terms of salary. So I'll put the Leafs a little above Boston, which the Canucks, interesting. So they did not have a very busy trade deadline day. However, I need to take into consideration Lindholm and Zadorov. Um, yeah, I'll put them right there. I think they had a very good trading season. I think it was great that they got Lindholm. Lindholm seems to be working out for them, and Kuzmenko seems to be working out for Calgary. That's a very 50-50 trade at this moment in time. I figured it might be, but I've been wrong about a lot of those, so I'm glad I'm being proven right on that because I really do hope the Canucks pull something off, and I like Kuzmenko as a player. Um, and they traded Beauvillier for I just wrote that down. I'm realizing that's nothing. Had they got Gensel for Lindholm, yeah, I'd probably still keep him there. That's a good spot for the Canuck, I think. Um, Vegas. Whoo! We're talking Hannafin, we're talking Manther, we're talking Hurdle. We're not going to talk about how Hannafin and Mantha got or Mantha got a 4 minute double minor and Hannafin got a minor to make a 5-on-3 in their first 5 minutes of the game on their first game. We're not going to talk about that. But we are going to talk about how great. Obviously, they're going in S tier. The question is, where are they going in S tier? I don't think they're going to surpass Colorado. Um, yeah, I'll put them there because they upgraded their defense as well. Carolina upgraded their offense. Not that Carolina needed defense, but they got. I'm just saying Vegas got better on two different levels. And technically, yeah, Freddie is back, but I mean, Kochetkov has been holding his own in there. Kochetkov has been very underrated. They might go to Freddie in the playoffs just because of the playoff experience. Um, but yeah, they upgraded at a couple different levels here in Vegas with Hannafin and Mantha and stuff. I think Hannafin's a little overrated these days because he's just been the number one guy that we all knew was going to get traded. So his name's coming up so much that when he finally moved, everyone, it was a big deal because he knew he was a decent player. And I think he's overrated. But Mantha is having a terrific year, and what do I got to say about Hurdle? I don't think he's over. I think he's very perfectly hyped. So, yes, we like Hurdle. Um, the Capitals, all right, not good. Not good for the Capitals. I think they had a pretty similar experience with as Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's is worse because Gensel was at least playing for him. I mean, he wasn't recently because of an injury, but because Kuznetsov was down in Hershey. So yeah, just kind of hurts to see that team imploding down there. But like I grew up with the Capitals being great, so part of it's cool, but part of it's like, damn, I'm old. Um, And yeah, I will say though, Kuznetsov and Orlov meeting up in um, Carolina. Strings. Winnipeg, final one. They came through at the end there. Obviously they got Monahan, who I love. I think is a very underrated player these days. They got Colin Miller, which isn't talked about, probably because he's mid, but they did get to Foley. They are an A tier team for sure. Not quite S. Um, I'll put them right there. Yeah. I thought that Toffoli was gonna have a digression year this year. I was wrong. Toffoli has been looking like himself. He's been playing great, collecting more Infinity Stones of Canadian teams. But yeah, I think that they did what they were supposed to do at the deadline. A little early when they got Monahan, and then a little late um, to get to Foley. So in the middle, it felt like they were doing nothing. But when you really look at where they were at the beginning of the year in terms of a roster and look at what they were able to get and for how little, because, friggin' nothing they they gave up. Yeah, I think that Winnipeg did pretty soundly. So here's my list. I would say my biggest surprise of this list is the Bruins not being below most of the teams. I guess I overreacted at the lack of moves, but I mean, yeah, the Bruins. I think a lot of it is just all the overtime losses we've had lately. It's like I felt like there was a need for change, but now we've won three of our last four, and it's like, all right, maybe I did overreact a little bit. Every team has their bad stretches. It's just that we didn't have a bad stretch last year, so it had been a while. But yep, this is how I think the trade deadline went for each team. This is friggin' hilarious. And you want to know what's funny is they traded Bertuzzo to the Islanders, and that's like the only move these two teams made, which is great. But other than that, oh well, they traded Subban. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I'm hoping to do some more NHL content in the near future. Love talking NHL. Definitely will be doing a lot of it during the playoffs. I know Michael be jumping on NBA stuff shortly, and definitely during the playoffs. And yeah, just stay posted for more content. Talk to you soon.